Whoa. I don't know. All right. Oh. Dun, 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 dun. Animation. Very nice. At the stream. Hello, everyone. This is welcome to the Black Batman broadcast. We put a nice smiley face in the forum because that's nice. There you go. Let's see how long it loads. A few seconds, slight delay. Fair enough. Yeah, well, welcome to the Black Batman broadcast. I'm your host, Rap Raven. This is show 89. That's right. 89 attempts at helping black people. Very nice. Oh, yes. Now, after much research, after unfortunately concluded that currently black people are collectively inadequate. That's right. Teamwork skills is a big challenge in the black community, something that we've recognized. And we're gonna hopefully do something about it. It might take time, but gotta start somewhere. Obviously, we're going to send out the link today for the community to jump in as we do. So please, we'll do that. Let's not forget the 4D values that we're going to practice when we try to communicate with other black people. And that's discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. Please remember these. I always keep reminding people. I don't like being a broke record, but if we can have these 4 values when we try to find solutions, I suspect find solutions will be ever so slightly easier. Uh, you know, um, yeah, yeah. Can using descriptive language instead of derogatory language help black people stay better on topic? Whoa, I believe so. So let's try not to use derogatory language when we send out the links. Want everyone to be cool, cool, cool. What is Black Bearman, like you say? Well, Black Bearman is black people helping black people, black issues for Bearman. That's what it is. So this broadcast promotes the lifestyle of Black Bearman. That's right. We're going to be showing some videos today as well. The Copyright Act 1976, so it's fair use, fair use, fair use. So it's not our stuff, but we're using it just so we can report scholarship or research. Blah, blah. I always forget. I've done a very poor job as for a couple of weeks, but please remember we have a new a. Can I copy that? Let's copy that. We have a new, some relatively new Instagram page, which we should be using to promote this actual page. So if you have an Instagram page, please follow it. I'll put it in the forums. I'm sure you can copy and paste it. Do us a favor, do yourself a favor, follow it. Tell your friend, tell a friend to be its friend. Be very good if you could do that. And then that way we can start promoting and posting some social content that promotes Black Bearman, which everyone can join in because it's a good idea. All right, yeah. So what's today's topic? I hear you say. Well, it's how best to protect black children from anti-black mistreatment. Is there a benefit to black people living next to each other? All right, it's two things. They're kind of correlated. And also, I'm going to do some slight perception principle that came up today. Thinking, should I start with first? Or maybe I'll come to it at the end. Who knows? So where does this come from? Let me prepare my documents, make sure I've got everything that I need to have. Sometimes I don't. Shame on me twice. Um, Unfortunately, there was a young child brother in Wales, and he was being bullied. And when he was being bullied, he tried to escape from the bullies, and in his attempt to escape, he got his hands caught on some kind of gate, fence, sharp device, and unfortunately, he lost either fingers or one finger. I would say one finger, which is not good, of course. And it highlights the sort of our show. What we're saying, how best to protect black children from anti-black mistreatment. Let's see. We already have some suggestions by brother Eddie Harris. Best way to protect black children is to tell them that black isn't a race, black is a business. Teach so-called black children to not trust anyone if they're not from their ethnicity. Actually, that actually might be a good plan. I think definitely teaching children young what racism is, but also what black betterment is. The value of black people fixing things for ourselves. Also, history of why black people haven't practiced black betterment, uh, kumbayasm, and this kind of stuff, and let them know. And also, we bleed into: is there a benefit to black people living next to each other? I suspect there is. That might be another potential solution. When people get on board and all that kind of stuff, living next to each other, innit? Minimize being the only different person in certain communities. But just to get us up to scratch, because obviously I'm not the arbiter of this information. So let's see if I can play. This is some other brother's page, and then we'll play what the mother says. Says. Right.
An 11-year-old schoolboy called Raheem Bailey, who attended Albert Tillery
His name was Raheem Bailey.
Learning Community School in September last year, has had to have his finger amputated while trying to flee school bullies. Now, this attack happened at break time on school grounds. This kid was pushed over, punched and kicked while on the floor, and the only thing he could think of was to get up and to run, to escape. He then proceeded to climb the fence to get outside the school, and then he got his finger caught on the railing, causing severe damage. Now, do you know how scared someone has to be to try and climb a school fence?
Very scared. We've got to really try to protect the young ones from mistreatment.
In order to escape people that's trying to cause you harm. Your finger gets caught, but you are panicking, you're frightened, you're scared, so you still climb even though you're in pain. Now, let's forget for the fact that Ryan was black, and let's also forget the fact that his mum says that the attack was racial based.
We won't forget those facts.
And poverty based, as they says to him, you come from a poor country. In the simplest form, these school bullies are idiots, cowards that band together and gang up on someone who's alone and can't defend themselves in order to prove what? To prove that they are better than him. Now, what
to mistreat black people?
I want to know is, where were the teachers?
Probably that.
What support's being offered?
Probably none.
What form of punishment are these kids going to receive?
Probably very minimal.
Now, crazily, the school knew Raheem was being bullied.
Not good.
A day or so prior to the incident, the mum and the school had a conversation addressing the bullying, and Raheem's mum was reassured that something was being done to
I doubt that.
sort out this problem. Then, for the 11-year-old Raheem to try and climb a fence to get outside the school, he was the one who called his mum first. Then the school called after explaining the situation, and they told the mum that the ambulance would take 2 hours to arrive and not to drive Raheem to A&E herself.
The ambulance will take 2 hours to drive. Maybe it's different country, different things, but it seems quite a long time for ambulance to come to a school. Need to review what's going on there.
Now, once they arrived at the hospital by school bus no less,
school bus,
it then took 5 hours for Raheem to be transferred to Swansea Hospital.
This is not good.
Where he needed surgery to try and save his finger. The surgery lasted 6 hours, and they couldn't save it. His finger had to be amputated.
It's not nice.
Now, no matter what colour you are, if you have children, nieces, nephews, cousins, goddaughters or godsons, you should be concerned, believe me, because this could happen to anybody.
Any black kid, yep.
It could happen to any child that gets caught up in bullying.
Any black kid that gets caught up in bullying.
It's like a cancer, yet people want to brush it under the carpet as if, quote-unquote, kids will be kids. Now, a GoFundMe page has been set up for Raheem, and so far they've raised in excess of £70,000. As for the school, they've also said that they take bullying very seriously and are in contact with Gwent police. I'm just waiting for the outcome, to be honest. What do we think will happen to these kids that forced Raheem to climb over the fence and lose his finger? Let me know in the comments. Stay safe.
All right. Now what we're going to do, gentlemen and ladies, we're going to listen to what the mother has to say. So let's quickly jump to that video. Mother?
pain,
Rewind.
he sat there in agony. And the whole time telling, I'm sorry, mommy. I couldn't stay there. Like, I couldn't, why don't no one like me? These are the things that my child, while being in pain, is constantly having to ask me, like, mommy, why don't no one like me? Like, why did they pick on me? I didn't.
Because you're black. That's fine. This is we have to ask the question: is there any value in teaching young black kids about racism and white supremacy and these kinds of things, and the history of it? Also, the history of what's this going on? Also, the history of you know mistreatment. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to put the link out there, family, as well. So the link to the broadcast is now live, active. So feel free to jump in and we can chop it up together. Today will be a short show if we don't chop it up. I'm ever so slightly tired, but I will go the extra mile for the people because that's what you do as long as you need it. Louis, back to the mother.
Mommy, sometimes I don't even say anything, and people pick at me. So yeah, I just felt like, I went into the school and I spoke to them and I told them that they failed him. They didn't safeguard him. They failed him in many different ways, but they definitely did not safeguard my baby. He was running away because he was so tired of being picked on every day. I mean, some of the things he has said to me, it's just massively, massively disgusting. And I don't know how any teachers that's meant to be protecting my child not seen or heard anything at all. Like, some of the things he has said to me is horrible. And yeah, I'm appalled with the school. They sent out a generic message to all the parents, which I received as well, saying that they're concerned because of all the coverage, that the media coverage, for their staff and for their the pupils' safety. Well, my child is a pupil of theirs, and he was damaged.
Not good, not good. Now there was actually quite a lot. Let me see. So yeah, they're raising the fund for the brother. I'm looking now. It's at 91,000. I don't know what that. I don't know what it's going to pay for because I think he's figured out, unfortunately lost. Hopefully, it can be pushed towards something else. I don't know. I did see some statements from the police, but I didn't download those. But funny enough, I can probably shift. Very your face stuff out. Boy, there's fingers quite a lot of things. Who is the one I should be following? Let me see. There was a. Is there a video here? Video so far. All right, cool. Blah 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 blah. Da, da, da. Go funny. Yep. Accept that. Accept that. Take its time. No, yeah, there was a statement from the police I saw. But didn't download it. Anyway, unfortunately, this is so more context. I believe it's in Wales. Now, if I'm wrong, please correct me, someone. I do believe it's in Wales. And I think what the mother was explaining is that her son was in Wales, a school, and it's also what she said he's consistently being bullied. And he did ask his mother, why is he being bullied? I don't know if she told him racism, white supremacy, this kind of stuff. By the way, they're from, background, if where they were coming from. He says it's a bit choppy. Kind of choppy, bro. Oh, all right. Let me go closer. Is it still choppy now? Or audio? The audio is it my audio or the audio of the sister? Let me know. I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there you go. Maybe it's because I was actually looking for a something while I was talking. Who knows? Mighty mystery. Now resolved. Anyway, where was I? It was, yeah. So the brother, unfortunately, was reporting to his mother that he was being mistreated. And I want to say they're in Wales. Not too sure their background, if they're Caribbean, Africa, and they came from London or Coventry or wherever. I'm not too sure. Not too sure if there's any other family members around. I think there might be 2 kids, but I could be wrong there. But unfortunately, yeah, he was complaining. Nothing much was done about it, and I think he decided to run away at this particular thrashing he was receiving. and he tried to escape through some kind of gate, and unfortunately, his hand was severely injured, and so much so that they had to take one off, which is not nice. Not too sure what's going to happen. Oh, let me say this. Is this? Let me press play on this one. Hold on. So let's see what the guy says. Maybe let's press play. Might have found something nice. Adverts. Of course, you're going to give me adverts. 20 second advert. All right. All right. Let me copyright purposes. Let me now put this on my. Where is it? Let me put on Firefox. Yes, Firefox. Now, also, back to which is on the picture there. How best to protect black children from anti-black mistreatment? And the idea is let us know. Your pins will be very handy. Press play. Now, I'm going to do this. Here, what please says. While the advert's going on, I'm going to shift. So share screen. Stop screen. Share. There we go. All right, let's go. We don't want to see the advert, but let's keep it.
Discover Europe with summer flights in just £29.99 and package holidays from £219 per person.
No one cares.
Next Gen EasyJet.
Whatever. All right.
I'm not sure if you're aware of the story of Raheem Bailey. This is an 11-year-old boy who lost his finger when he was fleeing from racist bullies, allegedly. He was beaten, kicked, pushed to the ground, allegedly. His finger was then amputated after it was caught in a fence when he was trying to run away. I just want to get your reaction to that story and if we're doing enough to tackle racism.
It's sickening. We always need to do more. I suffered bullying when I first arrived on these shores. I couldn't speak English, and it was hard. And I remember my first experience at my first school was Holland Park School, being chased around the park as a sort of entertainment for bigger boys, and then throwing me in the pond, dunking me head down in the pond. Pretty horrific for a child who just arrived on these shores.
And you think that was a racist element to it?
Well, I don't know. It was a long time ago, but I've certainly been at the receiving end of other racist slurs, words, whatever. I was called a Paki at school. I had to explain that they mean I'm from Pakistan. I'm not from Pakistan. I'm actually from a place called Iraq, and I'm Kurdish of origin. It's called Kurdistan. It's a horrible thing, and I am determined to stamp it out, as I am determined to stamp out anti-Semitism in our schools or in our universities. There's no place.
Interesting. So obviously we also look at pattern perceptions, don't we? And maybe I'm looking too much into this. Maybe I'm not. But what we tend to see as a pattern is whenever there are black particular issues, other so-called mistreat groups tend to come through, and they tend to take pride. I noticed a lot, and this seems to happen now. This Kurdish man, who's when he came potentially had an accent, and he was bullied for that allegedly. And obviously, like with many things with black people, no matter how much your accent changes, you still physically typically look of African descent. So usually that is a contributing factor of mistreatment. So learning from other European places, or Iraq or Iran, I want to say Iraq and Iran are actually from the original Aryan nations, I believe. I mean, the word Aryan actually comes from around that place. So technically, it was the original word used for white people, and it's what all the Nazis would use for pure white people. I don't know how that works, but yeah. Anyway, so I don't know who his brother is. I'm just remember seeing this live, talking as we see it, and he's talking about his issue. And now he's brought in Jews. Interesting. Let's carry on listening.
For racism anywhere in our society, let alone in education.
All right.
Thank you for sharing your personal story. I'm sure there'll be lots of little boys and girls who will find it quite inspiring too.
Or you should focus on the guy who got injured, but maybe I'm just reading too much in it. I'm a bad person.
To hear someone overcome it.
Overcome it. All right. Didn't lose his finger though. Right. Let's see. Was that the only video on this page? So unfortunately, we see the damage been done to the poor brother. The quotes and stuff. There's him smiling. All right. Not good. Not good at all. Not nice. So that also goes to another question. Let's see if I can share the other one. Share. Stop. Share. Where is it? Window. Here we go. Cool. I found it. Yeah. So obviously, the next one kind of is that: is there a benefit to black people living next to each other? Yeah. I think. I mean, once again, I don't know the situation. I don't know But if they did go to Wales, I'm assuming they might be one of the few non-white people in that particular. I smash the like button, everyone, if you can. Always press like, pretty common. It's a good thing. Good to press like. Show you like all the stuff. Yeah. So what I was saying is, when you go to some of these areas outside, in London, outside London, or outside England or Britain, whatever, you might be one of the few black people. Is that a good thing? Is there a value in going to black areas? Is there a value to have kind of like strength in numbers and that kind of stuff, just in case you get chased and being up for not being white or not being a certain thing? Yeah, that's something that we should really think. Yeah, I saw Wales when I was doing that. Yep, so it looks like it is Wales. I've been to Wales. Very nice people, and obviously you don't want to judge a whole place. It is what it is, but either way, you have to have a thing you're trying to do, and protecting black children is one of them, without question. So the question is, is there a benefit to black people living next to each other? Once people become synchronized with betterment and they become constructive, is there a value in them living together? Probably. That might be a good idea. Might be a good idea. Oh yeah, might be a good idea. For those joining now, we're just gonna play the words from the mother one more time for those who missed. For those who don't know, there's a young brother. Unfortunately, he was bullied in Wales and he lost his finger. So let's do his mum one more time while I try to find some other thing. Go!
Agony. And the whole time telling, I'm sorry, mommy. I couldn't stay there. Like, I couldn't, why don't no one like me? The other things that my child, while being in pain, is constantly having to ask me, like, mommy, why don't no one like me? Like, why did they pick on me? I didn't even do.
Why don't like it? Any reasons? Like, just so there's kids who wanna don't understand why is it that when they go to certain places all over the world, funny enough, I'm on the Wales online site. I see that there's a heart that looks like a flag for Ukraine. So Wales is showing love for Ukraine. It's interesting because of the bad perception where no matter where you go, black people tend to be mistreated. So you tend to find that even in Ukraine, many black people did go and fight, wanted to send support. But even in Ukraine, black people being mistreated, and were taken off the bus, were animals were put on the bus, and women were told to leave, and they were allowed. The Ukrainians were allowed to leave first, while the Africans had to remain behind. Very, these things are quite consistent. Never nice, but yeah. So
Mommy, sometimes I don't even say anything, and people pick at me. So yeah, I just felt like I went into the school and I spoke to them and I told them that they failed him. They didn't safeguard him. They failed him in many different ways, but they definitely did not safeguard my baby.
What do you think you would do if you sent your child to school when he lost a finger? Let us know. Let us know if you would do anything. Oh, I think I found a place now. Oh, that's very good. Where's that? Oh, come on, man. So, when you watch things, you keep getting these cookie things on permission. It does get a bit annoying. Whatever. Let's hear what this lady's saying. Oh, we got a welcome, Empress Kushti. Welcome.
What's up, guy?
Blessings. I found one of the things, and let's play what the police said in Wales. Share screen. Let's go this one. I think it's here. Yeah, just say what they say.
Well,
Rewind.
Well, I've been so shocked by what has happened to Raheem Bailey. So shocked, and as the Jeremy Miles, our Minister for Education, has said in a statement he made yesterday, this is where we have to condemn bullying and racial harassment in any form, and it has to start in education, doesn't it? It has to start in our schools, and I think Jeremy said this morning, tackling racism and bullying head on in our schools and taking a very robust approach. So,
interesting. Just something that we should really, being based in Britain and stuff. Let's see, because obviously I'm very interested in themes and genres and this kind of stuff. And I do notice that when we use the term racism, but technically it's probably anti-black racism mistreatment. But I noticed that they don't mention that. And everyone keeps on talking about all forms of racism, and then usually they give examples of Jewish people and this kind of stuff. So I'm just thinking, when people talk about I guess when people talk about being anti-Semite, they're talking about Jewish people. So maybe we want to push the word anti-black racism because I'm noticing a theme here where no one's actually mentioning, that kind of stuff, especially if the boy was mistreated for being African or black, or whatever it might be. Let's carry on listening.
This is where, in 2 weeks' time, I will be launching our anti-racist action plan, and we need that action plan.
Anti-black?
That action plan is what is now going to help address this matter.
Ooh.
Every school in Wales should be a safe place for all our children.
Has to ever mention black?
And we must now think of the family, think of Raheem and his family. Look at, again, the bullying in schools, the guidance, which of course the education minister is looking at. Obviously learn what happened. That's crucial in terms of the local authority and Grant Police finding out what happened, supporting the family. But actually, we do not want to be anywhere in the place where we see these kinds of incidents happening.
I see. Also, they said it took like 2 hours for the ambulance to come. Well, not too sure. Maybe in those places there's lots of mountains and rivers and elephants. I don't know what it is, but it seems to be long. But I could be wrong. Because I'm not there. But yeah, all right. Empress Kushti, let me put back on the thing. Would any your first thoughts, second thoughts as you're hearing this?
Yeah, my heart goes out to
Oh, you might be ever so slightly quiet, or maybe it's me.
Is it any better now?
Is it this? Well, no, because if I could hear the video, then it must. People at home, can you hear at home? People in the phone, there we go. Oh, that noise sounded loud, so maybe that might help it. Say something.
Any better? Hello?
Hello. Maybe have I turned? Well, talk. If anyone can't hear, family, you're part of the
Let
team.
me know.
Yeah, go ahead. So just say it and we'll say.
My heart went out to the mum talking there and just talking about her experience and what happened to the child. I've not really been on social media a lot, so I don't know if it's actually been picked up, like, by, some of the usual suspects who have maybe come on and championed this because the poor boy lost a finger. And it's everything to do with that story. It's the before where she, they notified the school initially, nothing was done. It gets to the point that he gets attacked brutally. He loses a finger, and I think when I last was reading it, I don't think they really followed up. It's only now that she took it to the public that they're starting to say things. So I'm hoping that that she has a support system, and those who are doing those kind of works are supporting her, because it just sounds terrible when you look at that picture and his fingers gone and how young he is. And yeah, I just feel I feel for her there. But I don't know, when you say that, that question is it beneficial for Black people living next to each other? Because I definitely feel that the fact that she was in Wales, she was definitely far from any form of benefit, of community support or anything like that. But at the same time, we had Child Q, and she was in Hackney. So as it stands now, I don't think it's a matter of proximity to each other or not. We just seem to be getting our children now are seeming to getting treated like they're nothing, regardless. And so I just think it boils down to us as a people. We definitely need to. I mean, I heard another story how there was another story similar to Child Q, but the young girl, she had autism, and she was talking about suicide. So there's a lot of stories coming out now, and some of these people are living in Black areas, Black communities. So it's a matter of us really having to, as Black people, just making a statement, as you know, other communities have, where it doesn't matter where you might find us, you better not touch us. I think it's more of that, to be honest with you. Those are my thoughts this far on it.
Thank you, Empress Christie. Welcome, Brother Kel, to the Black Man broadcast. How are you familiar with the case at all of the young brother being attacked in Wales?
I'm not, greetings, Brother Raven. Greetings, Sister Christian. I'm not, brother.
Right.
I don't know what happened.
Well, here's what we'll do because usually people join a bit later. So we're going to play just one quick synopsis. Where are you? I'm going to say it's this one. Could be wrong. Could be right. Let's play this one. Play.
An 11-year-old schoolboy called Raheem Bailey, whom attended Albert Tillery Learning Community School in September last year, has had to have his finger amputated while trying to flee school bullies. Now, this attack happened at break time on school grounds. This kid was pushed over, punched and kicked while on the floor, and the only thing he could think of was to get up and to run, to escape. He then proceeded to climb the fence to get outside the school, and then he got his finger caught on the railing, causing severe damage. Now, do you know how scared someone has to be to try and climb a school fence in order to escape people that's trying to cause you harm? Your finger gets caught, but you are panicking, you're frightened, you're scared, so you still climb even though you're in pain. Now, let's forget for the fact that Ryan was black, and let's also forget the fact that his mum says that the attack was racial based and poverty based, as they says to him, you come from a poor country. In the simplest form, these school bullies are idiots, cowards that band together and gang up on someone who's alone and can't defend themselves in order to prove what? To prove that they are better than him. Now, what I want to know is, where were the teachers? What support's being offered? What form of punishment are these kids going to receive? Now, crazily, the school knew Raheem was being bullied. A day or so prior to the incident, the mum in the school had a conversation addressing bullying, and Raheem's mum was reassured that something was being done to solve this problem. Then, for the 11-year-old Raheem to try and climb a fence to get outside the school, he was the one who called his mum first, and the school called after explaining the situation, and they told the mum that the ambulance would take 2 hours to arrive, and not to drive Raheem to A&E herself. Now, once they arrived at the hospital, by school bus no less, it then took 5 hours for Raheem to be transferred to Swansea Hospital, where he needed surgery to try and save his finger. The surgery lasted 6 hours, and they couldn't say his finger had to be amputated. Now, no matter what colour you are, if you have children, nieces, nephews, cousins, goddaughters or godsons, you should be concerned, because this could happen to anybody. It could happen to any child that gets caught up in bullying. It's like a cancer. Yet people want to brush under the carpet as if, quote unquote, kids will be kids. Now, a GoFundMe page has been set up for Raheem, and so far they've raised in excess of £70,000. As for the school, they've also said that they take bullying very seriously and are in contact with Gwent police. I'm just waiting for the outcome, to be honest.
All right, cool. So that's the update for those guys joining. This case in Clubhouse Tuesday. Okay, Clubhouse, the one over. Cool. So Brother Carol, that's the update of that particular case. But it leads into the question: how best to protect Black children from anti-Black mistreatment?
Well, Brother Raven, we have to be very honest. This may not be easy for what I'm about to say, but it's the truth. Is that whenever in political science, as we're dealing with, whenever non-African people see Black people, unfortunately, they see you as a burden, as like, why are you on earth? Why are you in front of me? Why are you existing? You're a burden to them, and it's very difficult for us to grasp these things because the way how we um have been created and our mindset that we believe in justice and equality, we could never have that type of mindset of another ethnicity and be burdened when you see them, whether it's with the face expression, the mannerism, the body language. But that is the truth, is that, you know, they cannot stand you around, you know, and you know, a lot of us don't believe in these things. So when it comes to your children, you know, you have to teach them at a very young age. I think we were speaking about this ages ago, but you have to teach them at the age of 3 symbolic type of images, um, you know, that will, you know, coherence towards, you know, African pride, etc. And then as intellect starts to grasp, then they should be taught political science, how to navigate socially, you know, in the system, and to formulate a government to help them navigate. But the reality of it, brother, you know, we are a burden to them when they see us. And it's something that we haven't understood, but we need to understand and really get a grasp of it, that we are a burden to them in all aspects, unfortunately.
There you go. Yeah. So I guess establishing the age of when to tell your children about the realities. What was interesting is this wasn't a spare the moment thing. This was seems to be having that was happening for quite some time. And I guess my thing is with community, maybe there's people you can tell, you know, if it was going on, but I don't know. It is quite tragic. Any views in the forum? Let us know your views on how best to protect black children from anti-black mistreatment. Brother Kel was saying that, you know, letting them know as young as 3 about what's going down could be a benefit. Um, it is tricky. We did ask a question like, is there value in trying to live in areas that are predominantly black, or move in, you know, move with black people, that kind of stuff, so you're not literally isolated. This is Wales. I know Wales does have a black population, but I suspect, I think it was Swansea or somewhere, that it isn't that big. Once again, they said it took 2 hours to actually get for the ambulance to come. Don't know if that's because of it's a very spacious place, or there was a lot of incidents at the time. But 2 hours seems quite long. But once again, I'm probably just misreading that.
There is a benefit, Brother Raven, for the collective to live by one another, because as that famous quote always says, you know, the wolf gets the lonely sheep. You know, if you are migrating away from the collective, then you are going to be lambs to the slaughter. You know, and especially in our situation, that you have to. It's very difficult because on one hand you've got 2 different types of African descendants. You've got the unsynchronized ones, which make things very difficult, and you've got the synchronized one, which is a very small amount. So you have to, especially in our reality, that you have to, you know, whether you know, for example, some of us have a lot of teachers in our family, but they will tell you that when you're going to go to the school system, that you need to have like a regiment with you, you know, someone that's listening to what the teachers are saying if they're making a complaint, someone to write something down, because, you know, with Europeans, and their whole system revolves around what is written down. You know, when it comes to verbal, because the English language has been alterated to mislead, is that you could say one word and you can hide in that one word and say, well, I never meant it that way, I meant it in that way. So it's very important that you document everything, you know, whatever has happened. If you're going out in the street, you know, you never send your kids on their own. Make sure there's at least 5 of them going to the shops. When you're going on holiday, you know, what my relatives do when they go to certain places, that they always have like some form of remembrance of who they are, whether it's a T-shirt, a Pan-Africanist T-shirt or whatever, but they go in large groups. You know, that should be something that we need to be doing. Wherever you are, basically, always have an entourage or a regiment with you, and that will kind of let people know, like, there's a collective, but going on your own, you know, the wolf gets the lonely sheep, unfortunately.
Yeah. Would you like to add anything to that, Empress Christie?
Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of just think at this point in time, I don't think, like I said earlier, Child Q was in a predominantly black area, and look at the violation that happened to her, and she's not alone. I mean, in that borough alone, which is heavy, or is more black than the area that I can probably assume that it's more black than the area that the lady was in, and out of something like, I don't know, 24, 22 were black or something. It was like there was only 2 that wasn't black. So although I do agree that if you are an outskirts, where somewhere like Wales, where it's been notorious where you're not really going to see another black person for a long time, you are probably in more jeopardy of that, just because of the ignorance, and we just know how the people are. So I think your percentage of especially your children experiencing it is high regardless. But if you're going to go to somewhere like Wales, you're going to probably suffer, which, you know, it goes down to maybe some people think that, okay, certain areas where we're highly populated don't have the best facilities for education, might not be safe, gang culture. So then they think, okay, I'll move my child to somewhere where they're not going to have that, and they see that in this climate that would be a white area. So I can't talk on what her premises of why she's lived there, right? Why she's in Wales, but I have heard certain black people say things like that, and I don't know. I just think that I do agree that it's becoming more and more clear that the best way to protect them is not about trying to hide or move away from areas. It really is about having to have those conversations with your child, number one, and recognizing the micro aggressions before it gets to the point of, you know, you're having to climb a fence, and, you know, and maybe more of the parents are not just relying so much on the school. Like, I think now's the time for every parent to realize that if your child says something, believe them, or at least investigate first without brushing it off. And it's a thorough investigation. It isn't oh, okay, thanks for notifying us, we'll look into it. It's a follow up, and a week later, okay, can you let me know what your findings is of that investigation? It's a matter of recognizing that it's an institution like any other, and they clearly don't care about us. And these are our most precious items, our children. So we have to start moving as such, and understand that they're only as precious to us. And I think once we start moving with that mindset, then we don't take talk. You know, talk is cheap. You know, so yeah.
I think good points there. I think it wasn't too many months ago. I think I showed parallels between, this was in the States, by the way, where there was the shooting of I think Tamir Rice.
Yeah.
Tamir Rice, and I think and that was where the policeman came. You know, he saw a young child with what he perceived to be a gun, rolled down his window and shot before anything was even said. And then we paralleled with a situation where there were 3 children, same age, two white boys, 1 white girl, I think, maybe. And they broke into a house, robbed guns, and were actually shooting at outside the house, shooting at the neighborhood from this house. And then when the police came, they were shooting at the police. And you heard on the police's body camera how much they really didn't want to harm these children.
Yeah.
They were trying to get as close as possible. They really wanted to keep them alive, and they did in the end. They found a way to disarm them without harming them. And this is what I'm saying. Like, black children seem to be perceived ever so slightly different, even as a burden. You mentioned Child Q. For those who don't know, Child Q is unfortunately in the Borough of Hackney. There was a young female girl student who they suspected was smoking marijuana, this kind of stuff, and I think they did a strip search for her in the school. But this is something that's randomly on there, which you can have a listen.
Feels for that girl. I'm here for her. And one way or another, we're going to find a way to put them to account. How many more? 1999, we held an appeal from before. Answer this question. Has anything changed?
No.
Police are still as racist as ever.
A white child would never have been stripped and searched like that. Okay? It's racism.
No, it's interesting. If people do believe that, then and this is the things we should campaign around. Like if you honestly believe that because of how you phenotypically look or your ancestry or your lineage, you're going to be mistreated more. These should be the driving forces that allows us to actually become more closer and be inward with our solution plan. Very important.
25 children were strip searched in Hackney schools last year alone.
Only 2 were white. Only 2. Don't tell me about isolated incidents and bad apples. The reason the police were able to do that to that child is because it's done it before.
There have been 172,093 strip searches carried out by the Met over the last 5 years, and out of those, 9,088 were of children.
On average, 5 children strip searched a day. The youngest under 12 years old. 10-year-olds. What kind of foolish system is this?
She was let down and failed by her head teacher, her form teacher, and the system.
They met that little girl, 15 years old, take off her clothes in front of people she don't know. And then take off her sanitary pads. Man, look! Laugh! What is this?
I'd just like to say, me and my friends, we go to the school, and today we all took part in a protest. The 11th organised a protest. We're all going to write messages about the way we feel, and hopefully the teachers can listen to us and express our feelings. And we're going to be peacefully protesting after school every day until we see a change.
We're not talking lip service. This is Hackney, this is London, this is 2022. This is a multicultural society. We must stand together if we're going to fight this oppression. Unity, 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 unity.
Stand united against oppression. Very nice slang. Slogan, I should say. But like I said, I would recommend when black people come out, try to focus on black people rather than the whole unity thing. But what do I know? Anyway,
No,
yes,
definitely, I agree. And I think well, the thing that's telling about those, the thing that always stays with me about that, because how articulate the kids were, how confident they were speaking truth to power.
yes,
And I think that just highlights that when you inform them with the knowledge and prepare them for what's around them, they know how to battle it.
yes,
When as a child, if you're faced with something like that, especially from adults, and you don't even know what it is, you can imagine how daunting that is. So it's just coming more and more apparent that we have to start being very real with our kids and start moving accordingly, especially as parents a bit more. I think that the school still kind of has a hold with parents, with the black community, and that's the last kind of thing where it really needs to be apparent to all parents, black parents, that you really need to move a bit differently when it comes to schools on every single level, because once they notice that of you, they don't want the drama. They won't touch your kid. They won't dare do anything. But it's when they think that they can talk to you in a way and try and persuade you, then I just think that you just go how you means to just carry on. You start how you means to carry on. I just think you just need to move a bit more vigilantly when it comes to schools. Like, it's just so important. I think with all the things that are coming out now, it's just so important to just let that school know that, you know, I'm very present, and you know, you're very present. Just make that very clear, and then they'll leave, they'll stay far away. But I, as you were saying, what you were saying earlier, I have kind of seen what you said, because there definitely are pushing more of the bullying factor than the race factor
Mm.
on this. But I think it's just because of the times right now. They don't want. I just don't think they want to push people's emotions too far.
I hear
It's
that.
the time they don't want to have another riot. I think they know that if it's easier to push the bullying factor than the racism factor.
The reason I'm saying is because I think as a collective community, we can be conditioned to accept and not notice certain things. So what I tend to
Yeah.
do is I tend to look at other communities and see, like, when they push forward a certain word, is that word maintained? So when the Jewish community talks about anti-Semitism, I don't know if other people start mentioning anti-Islamophobia and Christianophobia, this kind of stuff. I think they usually stick it to, no, it's Jewish people being mistreated. Let's fix this, right? Like when Wiley allegedly said what he said, they never started talking about Hindus and this kind of thing. So I'm just thinking, but I think it's very easy for us to miss that because we're so used to it, and also, unfortunately, like I said, many black people always want to unite and merge and everyone feels the same pain kind of
Yeah,
thing.
same
And
struggle, and yeah,
yeah,
we
and
understand the struggle, and
yeah, this kind of
yeah,
stuff. And I think maybe there might need to be education of why to give ourselves permission to fix black issues. You see,
mm.
like
I think you're right, because I think there was a term before that was getting coined of, was it Afrophobia? And I
right,
think if you say something like that,
yes,
automatically it's like tunnel vision. It directs your mind to understand that this is directly against black people.
yeah, good idea,
Whereas
yeah,
if you hear racism and bullying, like
yeah,
you said, it's very all inclusive.
mm,
You know,
yeah.
so yeah, I do think that we need something that's hard hitting and specific to our
Because
community.
yes, because when we break down what's being said, so I wasn't there, but allegedly, what was said was, uh, if you're making fun of where he's from and how he looks and this kind of stuff, right? There's no guarantee that if he was from Sweden or Poland or somewhere else, to be the same. We don't know this, right? So
Yeah.
that's what we do know. But and I don't know, I don't know if the Jewish people start thinking, well, this guy's making fun of me because I'm Jewish. But I bet if I was also, a Jehovah's Witness, he'll do the same. It's I don't know if they think that way.
Yeah.
So I think, and also I don't know if I've got a picture there. But I remember I don't know much about this story. Of this, I think there was a young boy in the park who got beat with a what they roll in the sea with. I don't know what they call it. It's a canoe
And
roll.
all,
Or is that what it's called?
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really catch the story too much. I only saw. I think it was
I
like
only heard about it, but yeah, I have not seen nothing about it again. I just randomly heard about it from a few people.
yeah.
But apparently it was by an adult.
Yeah. It was a lady who was upset by maybe the noise. I don't want to say because I never got the story, so it kind of slipped me. And I just reminded her, and I'm not too sure what happened to this brother here. And I don't know if this must be to the strip searching the let black girls be. Oh yeah, child Q. So it is child. So this is all quite within this month. I think within this month or last month, I would say, uh, relatively new. Um, so
So I
yeah,
mean, I've heard a lot of cases in regards to black kids recently.
yeah, his name is Anton Forrest. Revealed the 8-year-old black boy
No,
from we say,
no, I just saw the pictures. Terrible.
yeah, he's from East London, Walthamstow, 8 years old. Greenleaf After School Club. So he's after school club, and was made clean his 5-year-old sister after he sold himself, despite Thomas being nearby. Is this the same story? The staff member reportedly said, "I'm not cleaning her. She is your sister. You clean her." The child's mother described as humiliating. I don't know if this is the same thing. Maybe I've gone past this bit here. I don't know. There seems to be another story where someone's mistreated there. It just seems to be a whole lot of mistreating stories for black children. But
Literally.
Yeah, who knows which is which, right? Yeah, here we go. A woman struck Antoine.
Fortunately, Brother Raven, these types of reports, unfortunately, it has to happen because, you know, sometimes, brother, you know, the bout is more effective than just saying don't do that. You know, black people, we are very hard of hearing, brother, and you know, these types of messages doesn't seem to be resonating in our mind. So why I said before is that we should do the black betterment specifically on the teenagers up until 30, because the 30-year-olds, 40 or 50-year-old, there's no hope for them, brother. You know, they're lost, they are mentally defeated. You know, they haven't understood. But we have new development of African descendant kids who will, you know, and they've got that fire as well, and they want to, you know, politicize their areas if they just had, you know, the strategies to help them. Because the parents, you know, this is nothing new, brother. This has been going on ever since we came into Europe, you know. So, you know, we do have to kind of focus on them. You know, that's the only solution. Other than the parents not gonna listen, brother.
I hear that. So I found the story. Police in is it police? So it's Bristol. This one. So the Wolfenstone seems to be a story about someone who wasn't allowed to use the bathroom. I haven't heard that one, but police in Bristol recently announced that Anton Forrest, a black boy attacked by a woman with a paddle, was a victim of a racist attack. They had launched a review of the case in the wake of public pressure to do so. So they did it because of the public pressure. That's what it was. They heard that the 12-year-old boy, 12 years old, was playing with friends at Colham River Park in Bristol on the 26th of March when he was confronted by a white woman, remember that one, white woman, who told them off for throwing mud at people in the water. Okay, and the woman struck Anton, the only black child in the group. So I think what they're saying that he was the only one who was struck with the paddle and caused him injury that needed to be glued. Avon and Somerset police said that the woman was arrested, which is good, then de-arrested, which is bad, claiming that she assaulted the child in self-defense. All right. Officers decided no action should be taken and closed the case until public backlash online. So yeah, they closed the case and then obviously they reopened it because people made a scene. But yeah. So this article here, maybe let me post this in the thing for you guys. This seems to be an article of all the recent incidents with the children, and there's some down here that I'm unaware of. But yes, I was putting there for guys who want to click on it. Yeah, we got take note of this.
12-year-old boy, and she, and again, it's the same old thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And this is the thing where
adultification right there. She felt threatened. Yeah. It was a group of boys, but you only got threatened by him. A group of boys there doing the same thing. You picked up that paddle, and look what you did to him.
Yeah.
And then you went straight for the, I was threatened. And this is what I mean. It's just the same old.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. It's just instinctive. And that would be a shut case had the parents not have brought that again to the public.
Who knows what kind of trauma a boy of 12 thinks of being attacked with a canoe, and you shut the case, he has to go on with it. 20 years later, you don't know how it affects him. Who knows?
Absolutely.
It's never good. Never good. But yeah, so family, is there anything else? Because there was a pattern perception that I saw today. So I made two things about a slightly different topic. But is there anything else you guys want to continue with the protection of black children? We can come back to it if you want.
But okay, I'll go to the next one.
Cool. Let me go to the next. It's just it won't be long. It's just I'm going to use the thing here. This is another story that's set in America, and it was just because it happened on the same day. I thought, well, let me just run it. So basically, if you guys want to be aware, there's a NFL, which is American football, gridiron football in America, called Ricky Williams, and it's interesting because let me play this. So this is what it says.
She's kind of been used to being like the hot shot around her friends, and she comes around me, and then people kind of forget that she exists. Okay, so there's a kind of an imbalance in the relationship, and it shows up in our astrological charts. And so I started thinking, what are things that I can do to help create more balance in the relationship? And one of the ideas that popped into my mind was I can take her last name.
Okay. All right. So let me start from it. So just to give some back context while I was trying to look for some other thing as well. There's an American football player called Ricky Williams, and I only found out randomly today. He's marrying a European lady, and he decided for a reason to, rather than her take his name, he'll take her name, and he has his reasons for doing that. So I just thought it was quite interesting, like something he pushed forward. They want to do. So I googled him just to see who he was, and I don't know if this will come up because it probably won't come up because when I googled him, I started seeing just very interesting imagery. Like I saw this. I thought, what's this about? I like I said, I haven't researched it because maybe I'm getting it wrong. I don't know if you guys can see my screen. Oh, hold on. Let me see if you can see it. Okay, okay. Technology. There you go. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but he's dressed as a woman, and I think this is his coach. Could be wrong. Obviously I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's comedy or so. Obviously, I'm just talking about pan perceptions because I'm knowing me. I'm probably getting the wrong end of the stick. There's a justification for changing his name to a European white woman's name, and dressing as a woman to his coach of his team. I'm sure maybe this is what goes on now within the change rooms. I wouldn't know. I'm not there. So I don't know anything about this story. So family, if anyone in the forum knows about this kind of stuff, then let us know. Because I don't know. But the only reason why I brought this up mainly is because I wanted to parallel with another thing I saw exactly the same day, and that is, and I don't know much about this. There's this young sister here. She's obviously found European white American football player, same sport, this kind of stuff. I think it's the same sport. Could be wrong. And what happens is saying here that wild rumor claims Travis Kelce, girlfriend of Kayla Nicole, broke up with him after he made her pay half for everything and only gave her $100, which is less than a pound, during their relationship. So I was just showing the parallels of like, obviously this is not universal, or whatever, but it's just because it pretty much happened on the same day. I thought, isn't that interesting? You have one African black man who's big man, American football, this kind of stuff. He's changing his name to a European woman's name, so he's then becoming part of their family. Interesting. And then obviously he's in his past he's dressed up as a woman for the manager of his team or whatever it was. Maybe it was a joke. And then I right after I see a black woman marrying a white man, and he's very she ain't getting no money. She pays half away, and after our relationship I only gave her £100, 10 points to me. Wait, this kind of stuff. So it's just saw it. It's for interesting. Just interesting dynamic there. Don't know what black people make of that. But I do pan perceptions, and as I see algorithms and stuff, and I just make sure I make notes just to make sure we're not missing certain things. But yeah, interesting, very interesting. Why is this one going on?
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
it is interesting. I think it just goes to show that just basic values is just non-existent in some cases, or that's definitely what gets promoted. It's just these kind of things and loads of these kind of stories that just fills up so many of our timelines, from nowhere as well. There's always those stories that just you don't know how or why that came to you at that time. So or we do know why, but I just think it's
And we got a message from Sister Tash saying that the divestors, those who don't know, there's a community of it pertains usually to black women going towards non-black men and leaving the black community, that kind of stuff. But I mean, maybe some people might also use it for black men going for white women. But apparently, the divestment community was taking a backlash because they do pride themselves on picking white people who are stand-up people, this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, this story came out, so it wasn't in their best marketing interest. But yeah, just seeing this gentleman, um, yeah, and then him changing his name, I guess this ties into the whole kid thing. Like, is there a value in teaching Pan Africanism, Black Bearment, this kind of stuff to children? The value of and also this concept of, obviously more so from the Caribbean, like obviously African Americans and Caribbeans, more so back in the 60s, 70s, and this kind of time, there was this kind of pride in changing your slave name to a African descent name or a distinctly unique name or a starting new name, because you want to distance yourself from the past of slave shipping and stuff. But when you have a black man who's marrying or taking a European bride and he's taking her name, then it's like his name's changing to another, I guess.
Yeah, they must not have kids then, because I don't know what you. It's just. I mean, but this is what I'm saying to me, and I didn't even know about any of these stories, so I'm assuming this is the story that Sis Tash is talking about, that divestors were getting a hit with, and I don't know. I think at this point it's just. I think it's just, it's just a gap filler. I just feel that these things are gap fillers when like, for example, when there's nothing on what's supposed to be mainstream news, you'll just get something random on about what a celebrity did. That's a slow news day. Because it's just, I don't know, and then this is what I say, this is why I separate them, right? Because if this is going on in a divestment world, then and this is the way that they're gonna do their thing, then let it play out and let it roll. Because I mean, it doesn't take long to see that this is just not going to be taken seriously, or it'll play its course, it'll have its course in time, and it'll just it won't have this so much attention to it continuously. Like every single time we're going to see somebody who is in an interrelational relationship in a public position, now that is the black people's conversation. Like we forgot that every single person who is black, who has probably made it to some sort of status in Hollywood or celebrity or sports, more than likely is with a person who is not black. We know this. We knew this before the divestment thing. So this is the point, to just keep on highlighting it like it's a surprise. If they're in that if they're in the NFL, more than likely they're with a white woman anyway. So if you're going to use a story to justify that argument, it's just, like I keep saying, people's intelligence are higher, or people get bored quickly. And it's just, when you start seeing patterns, I can see it running its course. Because I mean, you're giving me an example of someone in Hollywood and saying that, you're going to make that example to real life, when these people have never reflected us. And this is what I say. Think the problem is when at some point I felt that at one point, maybe this is like within black British, but I always thought that, we'd see things on TV, and because it was so far-fetched, even if they did have a black man, it was just black face. You wouldn't start talking stories on it and being like, well, let's see this black man's perspective. Like, this doesn't represent us. This is some white man who sat down and wrote this character, and an actor came along and did it, and now we're just taking it in. Like, Hollywood has picked these selective people out of a pool of black people, and that person has done what they're meant to have done. Now every single thing they do in their life, are going to sit down and analyze it like it's our problem. Like, I mean, I think this is just the perfect example of just keeping us distracted and not keeping us focused on what we should be discussing, you know, and I just feel like I think maybe they're not getting their answers, or the same old games that they've been playing before is played out. So they're stuck on this divestment thing. Like, this divestment thing is just taken over all the other arguments at this moment, that even the arguments that I'm tired of, I hear less of. It's just, I just feel like this is the hot thing at the moment.
To be honest with you, the divestment and the manosphere, they're the least of our problems. They will fade out very soon. They're no different than the other groups from before. I think I don't think I know the biggest issue that we need to do is that we have to teach our kids the truth, that you know, that whenever they go out of the home, they need to use a code of conduct to find kids their age who look like them, to formulate regiment groups, and start to kind of formulate you know, some form of a union amongst themselves when they do go out. Because, you know, brother Raven, sister Kusha, the reality of it is that all non-African people, they are very they have a phobia of black people, and it's something that we haven't understood yet. You know, Sigmund Freud, in his book, which you read in the 1920s, he wrote a book called The Others, and the book called The Other, it explains, he's speaking about his people, that they have two personalities, which we all have, but he was saying that one is the conflict of you know, committing a horrendous basically dynamic types of characteristics on others, and the other is that they have a victimization which they cover up the dynamic behavior. And we have to teach the youth that they have these elements, and they are very afraid of you. It doesn't matter how small you are, or how dark you are, or light, and you have to teach them that when they leave the house, as I said, that they should formulate groups instead of going outside and connecting with them. Also, Brother Raven, there needs to be like a time frame as well. I mean, Sister Fiona said it best one time on your show. You know, it's not like you see you hang around non-African people all the time. You only see them if you go work or if you go into the shop. But generally, you know, you need to understand that we already are separated. So there definitely needs to be something taught to the little ones, a time frame of how long they should be around non-African people, so they don't get affected like that football player, you know, because he's integrated, as we all have, his dopamines towards non-African people has left him unsynchronized. So would it be possible, Brother Raven, for us to discuss a time frame of how long we should be around non-African people as it pertains to whether it be like a business action or some form of a benefit, and then when that benefit's finished, then you disperse from them?
I think well, I guess more so when you're younger, what your children are doing and who they're with is definitely a concern, and the influence they have. And I guess, you know, but I also think that plotting purpose is important, like letting children know this is the history you come from, this is the condition we're currently in, and here's the strategies we're trying to apply to fix it. So there's certain things that is, you know, like manliness, manhood, you know, that kind of stuff, and definitely doing things within the group because no one else is going to do that. Very important. Everyone, if you're here, please press like, and you know, all that good stuff. I'm just wondering. I've got this video here from Vlad TV. Now, Vlad will flag most things, but if I play it like this and at 2 speed, I doubt it'll get flagged, right? Am I just wrong? Just so you know, it's saying Ricky Williams. This is the guy we looked at on wearing a wedding dress on ESPN cover. So I guess he's explaining why he did it. So let's just press play.
Yeah, but we've got to see his face. Can't you put it through the blackifier, bro?
Well, the figures I could, but then I'll have to actually Well, because what I can do is I can play it, but
I wouldn't risk it, brother Raven. You
yeah,
know,
you're right. Because what
I
they do is
wouldn't risk it. Yeah, I wouldn't risk it, bro.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You've shown the brother already. It's the same on synchronized.
And you've shown a video. It's true. You can go
Yeah.
and go to it if you want to see it.
Yeah,
I was just saying because
Yeah.
he just. It'll be interesting to say. I'll be interested because I don't know what he says, but I'll be interested to say who, or if he decided that it would be a good idea for him to appear on the big magazine in a marriage, European marriage clothing, whatever. But okay, yeah, we won't risk it. But yeah,
But if you can find it in a different channel other than Vlad, because he's another vulture culture, I can't stand him.
Well, that's why I was just gonna play and hear the audio. So you can hear the audio, just not see the video, and then we get at double speed. I think it's the video algorithm that they capture on. That's how they synchronize it. Could be wrong. I didn't do the programming for them, but but no, that's a way. That's a way. We won't do it. We won't risk it. But yeah, we're 11:21 now. Wait, you want to say something, Empress?
Yeah, I was just going to say, even the fact that he'd go on a show like Vlad and talk about it, it's just, you know what I mean? It's just, there's just no conscience of shame there, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's just, I don't know.
But I mean,
these are the kind of people that I can, that mindset, I can't even tell you that I'm around people like that. Do you know what I mean? It's just, they're gone. They're just, like you say, they're too far gone. The money and, like you said, the dopamines, that's what it's about now. You know, and remember it says former. I think when I was looking at it, it was former. So he's not in that kind of position that he was earlier. So I don't think he's currently an NFL player or anything. So.
I don't think he is. He's only up now because of this recent getting married and changing his name to.
And this is what I mean. These are just the early reality TV stars. They're just selling another story. You know, it's probably to pay another mortgage tab. It's just desperation. Why is that just out? Why does that have to be a big thing?
Yeah, so it's good to study the patterns to make sure those patterns don't infiltrate what we're doing or whatever, or just to recognize.
Definitely. Always good to question it and
yeah, it's like when my friends when they started going down the acting route, they would come and tell me stories, and I was like, okay, I'm seeing patterns here of like, do you know what I mean? And it prepares me to tell, and especially if you have young children. There is a good documentary called it's a documentary about Hollywood, but what happens to like certain children stars.
Yeah.
Is it an industry of their own or a hidden? I forgot. I'm shaming me. But it covered it was covering like the guy who made X-Men and this kind of stuff and what he was doing, and some other guy who went to jail came out, got a job again. But I think the guy who was in Goonies, who was Michael Jackson's friend, forgot his name. He was in it, and he was one of the guys who claimed that Michael Jackson was innocent. And I think he was saying that Michael Jackson is not a pedophile because I was a young man around him. He never did anything to me. However, I have been abused by many people in Hollywood, and I've given their names, and you're not pursuing it. So, and that was that. I forgot what the documentary was called.
About that, the guy from the Goonies.
Yeah.
I know what's his name? Corey. I remember. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, and he's been talking like that for a while as well.
Yeah.
That he's been. You can tell he's been through a lot as well. Yeah. But he's been talking that for a while. But yeah, as soon as you said that, I knew exactly how you talk about, because he talks very direct like that, but it's still kind of cryptic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, one thing we've learned though, Brother Raven, Sister Kushti, is that when it comes to non-African people, that they've definitely formulated their mind and their curriculum that black is bad, black is evil, and it doesn't matter what any black person does, good or bad, that we are always going to label them that they are bad and evil. And we have to kind of understand that, you know. I believe like some of us, especially the unsynchronized, they think they can try and persuade non-African people to change their mind, and they don't realize is that they don't want to change their mind. Their mind has fixated on you are the enemy. You know, everything they say, do, how they look at you typifies that they see you as the enemy. And you know, we should be teaching our youngsters without using emotion, of course, man, to combat that, to be very strategic. That, you know, it doesn't matter what you do, in their eyes, you are the enemy. You know, how do we get the parents to teach their kids that they see you as the enemy, they see you as evil, as bad? And here's the thing: when you're debating with the religious people, they always think that it's about good or bad. But if it was about good or bad, then logically will tell you that the ones who haven't done anything to you, don't harm them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So naturally, it's got to be about keeping the resources in one ethnicity's hands away from the other ethnicity, which has nothing to do with good or bad at all. It's to do with political science and how we want things to be ran.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to understand. Sorry. You sometimes got to understand as well when you're and this is something I might present on. Sometimes what a person tells you isn't actually what they're claiming or displeased about. So, for example, you know, when I speak and stuff, people always try to twist your words and conflate certain things, and that's because that, you know, someone's trying to stop you from doing something that's beneficial to you. So they're reaching for a made up story, and it's like, and the reason I brought it up is because I'm trying to find the airframe. For those who don't know as well, the brother who does content over everything, I didn't even know this. He's still going to the park because I went there the other time, but he's got a new channel because he keeps getting flagged. People flag his page, whatever it is, which is not good. Let me see if I can find it.
Who's that brother? God, there's a brother.
COE, content over everything.
Yeah.
So what's the new channel called?
It's called COE. I think COE. Let me see if I can find it, put in the group. I speak in corner. Because I'm actually on it because I went last week and I didn't even know. So I think I found it. So guys, I put this in to support this brother. We were talking about him actually doing some more dedicated black work for enough, and he came to me about it. So whenever he's ready to do that, I'm more than happy to jump on it. I've put it in there, and I mean, why am I using it? This interface just looks so terrible. There we go. Content. Wait. Is that it? Maybe I got it wrong. Share. How do you share? I'll just put it this way. Let me put it this way. Boom. I'm going to say it's this one. Sorry, guys. I've put the link in there now. And if that doesn't work, all you need to do is go to what do you call it? The search engine, and type in COE. He started again, so he's still got the old page, but he tells me that it's been so heavily bombarded with trolls and stuff that he started a new one that's more dedicated to this kind of stuff. But I went there last week. I was just passing through, saying hi to him. We had a meeting, whatever. But as I was there, two elder gentlemen were talking. One was from Sudan, and one was from I want to say Guyana. And the Sudanese man, I think he overheard someone mention the word Arab, and he thought maybe people making fun of Arabs, and he jumped in. But let's see what we can hear. I'm just let me see if I can share in here and prepare and all that. So I've got time. Let's see if we can see internet share. Share. Blah blah blah. Stop sharing. There we go. Share. This one, I want to say is this one. Yeah, it's this one. Let's go.
No black, no Irish, no dogs, no black. So you
So I'll try to narrow it. So basically, they're talking about no Irish, no dogs and history stuff, but what we found is that the brother in the back is a Sudanese gentleman, and both of them are Pan-Africanists, which is very good.
Bro, do you mind making it bigger, please?
I don't know if I can, because I don't know. Did it get bigger there? Did it get bigger?
No.
Nah, because it's coming. Oh, damn! I think I stopped it. Whoopsie. Let me see if I can stretch it within here. Hold on. Share screen. I didn't actually.
No bother if you can't. It's no bother.
Okay, this is good. Let me and then while I do that, what I'll do is I'll make
Oh, yeah,
R1.
much better.
I'll make R1 smaller, so it's like that. There you go. And then if I can make more space here, move all this kind of wicked stuff out of the way, and then move it to then like that. That won't work. Cool. Let's just press play. See what happens. So what we were showing is this brother, he was getting really out of control, ever so slightly, as in like he wasn't really listening to much, and because I think you heard this brother in the background mention something about Arabs or something. I don't know. And one thing I was trying to tell the singer Robbie Potter, so I want to go out there, is try not to lose your control and passion, and also be offended when people don't agree and stuff, because sometimes it gets hard to control. And one thing I want to bring to the part is a certain level of discipline, so we can actually discuss things correctly.
Do all these people identify as black, bro?
Say again, sis?
Do all these people in this discussion identify as black, yeah?
Yeah, so everyone here identifies as black, and they all say Pan-Africanists, right?
Okay.
So which is interesting, but I think they were concerned with how this brother here was really kind of going in for the Arab community. I think this brother here must have said something.
Which brother? The one in what color top?
The one in the green. So this one here, he must have said something about some kind of mistreatment that goes on in some kind of Arab play. I can't remember what it was, but this brother. But I think he wanted, so he was hard to control at this point. So I had to step in.
We are human beings. Okay, but how does that help Africa? We all descend from Adam and Eve. That's true, but how does that help Africa? How does it help Africa? Let's get with their neighbors. So collectively, which continent is doing the work? Collectively. Which continent is doing the work? Collectively. Latin America. North America. Which people own less of their own land? They're not Indian in America. Western Africa. They're not. They're home. The European, the Caribbean, the Caribbean, the European, they're big white power. They're gonna believe it. Uncle, we believe it, yeah? So Australia, Australia, what about the British? You said South Africa. So who writes them off? The white man.
What you want to look is definitely when you talk to me, look at their eyes. Yeah, look at when they talk about non-black people, where they go.
Okay, which one's the because I'm confused now.
So this brother here,
yeah.
So everyone in this video identified as Pan-Africanist, including this guy.
Right.
Yeah. However, this guy's from Sudan.
Okay.
But the reason why and obviously they wear the masks to cover this kind of stuff. But the reason why he was because you might not be able to see it in this video, but he was quite hard. Yeah. He was really dashing about and not listening and moving around and stuff. And so someone mentioned Arabs.
Okay.
He doesn't identify as Arab. He doesn't. So, but
he doesn't identify as Arab.
He doesn't. Apparently, he doesn't identify as Arab. But he was talking about not to mention Arabs, as in like it's not like he wanted to not mention them as a collective thing of doing anything negative. Although he didn't mention Europeans as a collective, but Arabs not so much. And I think that triggered some of the other African brothers around who were like, "What?" And then that's when I walked in.
Yeah, we all have one enemy. All of us have one enemy. It's the white man. No.
So he says we've got one enemy. That's the white man. So that's what.
No. Hold on. My own point. Here's the point. I'm here today. This is South America, right? You said South America is important. Like, when you see the South America, the person, people like you, but when it's time for them to build, they're not talking about South America. They're talking about building.
And what you realize, and I think it's tied into maybe what Brother Kel's saying. At a certain point, some people are in their own dimension, and it's more so about reaching out to the youth. And I tend to not really talk to certain people of this, like, I'm not too sure what point I was trying to make, but you see the picture that's brother. It's a very interesting picture if you can see. Well, let's go.
We said you're right, but we're not going to talk about back and forth, right? I'm saying that there's a consistency when African black people come together. There's always someone like yourself who's spending more energy. Now we know you are.
He has too much dopamines for the Middle Eastern. You can see permeating out of his system the dopamines, unfortunately.
Yeah. It is problematic.
If you keep going with that corner, you must be merciful to the thing is, right? We want you to be right. We want to hear that. You can't stick on the right? One at a time. What people are saying is that the limited resources is better for Africans to work for Africans and other Africans. They're always trying to reach out. It's what other people can do. So you said value. So what they're saying, brother, is that's what we do. This is what we want. We have to do the same thing, right? Yeah. So what they're saying is, before we can go help other people, let's help ourselves, right? That's what the doctor says.
Yeah, all right. It says, but the main moral of this video was, I think I started making statements, which I'm gonna start doing more, and that is. Hold on.
You need to hit the point.
That's enough. When black people get around and shout the word racist, we want a bit of direction because it looks a bit sloppy. But maybe it's just me. You want to be very specific.
Nothing wrong. If we talk about it, people will understand wrong. So what man stand here? So what do you say? No, you just say that the government, yes.
All right. So what I was saying, let me get to this point now. Now, because he kept on shouting the word Arabs, then Arabs came. And here's the Arabs. Hold on. I mean, he might identify as Iraqi, but let's see it. Hold on.
Some of the points there's a very famous poet.
So what this brother's about to do now, brothers, is the Sunni gentleman. Oh, let me not make that small. The Sunni gentleman was talking about not to necessarily speak about collectively about negative things that Arabs might be doing to Africans and this kind of stuff. And then an Iraqi comes along, and what he's about to do, he's about to talk about a poet that they study in all their education, and what the poet they study this poet and what this poet views on Africans are.
Unfortunately, a famous, part of a poet where he condemns black people, and he said that you shouldn't let them, you shouldn't trust them, and stuff. No, you shouldn't let them with your yeah, and you shouldn't treat them unless with the same motive. That's what it's I don't listen to the next point he's making. This one we could, that's he said that there was a famous Arab poet. Yeah, I think the brother knows about him. And continue. I prefer you to the background. Yes, but explain first and then give us the background. Mutanaki was a very famous poet. He was in the Hamdani state in northern Iraq. He traveled to Egypt when it was ruled by an African person, Muslim, whose name is Ashimi. Okay? I think he's from Egypt. And when he got in fight with the ruler back at the time, he decided to go back to Syria and northern Iraq where his old fellow was. And he said this very famous poet that's unfortunately up to today it's still been running. And funny enough, because of what we say, لا تشتري العبد إلا والعصا معه إن العبيد أنتاجهم إن العبيد أنتاجهم. What is the meaning of abid slave? So he says that don't buy a slave unless you have escaped because they are, basically shocked. So you have to.
I think you're saying, so if you're going to buy an Abid, which is a black person slave, make sure you have a slave because they're filth. I think that's what he said. I haven't read the poet. Maybe you guys are more familiar with it. I don't know.
But at the same time,
So this this is me randomly showing stuff, but this is the consistent thing I see in Speaker's Corner, where there'll be a black person going off a tangent, and then an Arab will hear the word Arab, or a white person will hear the word white, or Afghani or a Pakistani, whatever it might be, right? And they come, and then they'll give testimony of how much they dislike black people, and it's just matter of fact, very matter of fact, and then they'll just walk on.
the point I'm making is an Abid is not a word that's only used for Africans. It's used for people that you buy or you win more. Okay? So there are a lot of Abid, a lot of slaves from Georgia, from Turkey, from Iran. Yeah. Yeah. So from all places. But he was referring to Africa.
Yeah, and you're right, yeah. Till present day, in Morocco, in all this country, they refer to black people as Africans. Till now, today. Yeah.
You see that? I know in Iraq they do. So he knows this. He knows that all black people are referred to as slaves. Where he's from, collectively. This is the culture. This was understood. Very matter of fact, not really a problem. It's just how it is.
Okay, let's get this. One thing, this is the conversation to have, man. I don't think we should really get open capacity, right?
What's very interesting as well, Brother Raven, is that all non-African people have strategies to control their dopamines.
Yes.
To prevent us as a people from rising. They are very aware that their dopamines towards us can pop off at any moment due to our greatness. So these rhetorics and these strategic bad words, what they say, it's actually to help them control their dopamines. If we'd only realize and have our way, not to copy what they do, but in a sense, have something that you can control it. So you don't be infatuated with it. But they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I need to control my dopamines around African people.
So this is the first quote. I'd said collectively black people have no friends.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. No one like that. So we have to make sure if you can't. So one problem, I'm sorry, when you say they have no friends. No. All kinds of collectively, there's no collective group that is on the side of black people. There's none. There's no one. Nobody like the way you go in this. No.
Gaddafi identified with Africa because
so let's try and learn something.
Gaddafi's survival had depended on Africa. Remember that. Gaddafi's own survival was dependent on the rest of Africa because Gaddafi was a target by the other Arab countries and by the Europeans.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? We have to try to educate the students right now.
Yeah, but that's what we're doing.
The reaction of that's the learned behavior, right? Whenever you talk about other people, he doesn't listen to nobody. Yeah, but I'm saying you have to educate our people. How we do that? So I understand, like, collectively, black people have no friends. If you accept that philosophy, then you'll be okay. If you don't, how the brother was acting, how you're going to act. So we have to try to train the youth not to be
the point I'm trying to make is I'm not trying to apologize.
No. We're just making history. No, one said you should.
But the thing is, I think that it would be honest to say that people who live in that part of the world, where there were classes of civilization, everything that, all this stuff, there was a big room for acceptance and tolerance, even for everyone. For what? For tolerance.
So in that part of the world, there was a certain in the past, there was a big acceptance for tolerance, even for Africans. I want us to infuse this. I want us to get used to this even word when Arabs and Asians are using it. Because I noticed this when some Imam was using it as well, where they were discussing ugly people. and they mentioned a black woman, and there was like even a black woman was part of the like. I think it was talking about if a person is Muslim, you should marry them. Doesn't matter how ugly they are, even if they're black. Like that. So it was like, you know, that even word. Try to remember it.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't want to put it because it was kind of quite a famous imam, so I didn't put it on. But I remember seeing that, and it was said very matter of factly. And I'm not saying this brother is doing that, but when you say even African, like there was justice even for the Africans. Do you know what I mean? It's like even them. Can you believe that? So, you know, this is the way we should try to analyze how people describe, because it shows you sometimes they do it without knowing it, and there's much you can learn.
Like Africans, when they were slaves, they were accepted in those lands. And they became free men and free women. They had the
Don't generalize about Africa, because not all African was.
What we're saying is collectively, black people have no friends. So when black people come together, don't talk about other people. So when black people and find solutions. Don't do what the fuck people do there with going off on one uncontrollable, but for everyone to beloved and love arrogant.
Let me explain something to you.
In the 21st century,
You know, let me bring it nearer home in India, right? Now, we've been in this land, England, what they call England today, you know, a very long time. We didn't not since the war, after the war with Germany. We've been here hundreds of years before the war. But at every turn, they just wipe us off. The British, when they was fighting the war of independence in America, thousands of black people.
So the brother's giving some history lesson there. Let me script it for 1 second. But definitely, guys, go on to COE Speakers Corner. This is the latest COE channel, and I'm gonna start going back there, and I'm gonna try to get more brown sets to come down, start our corner, and have dedicated speeches, and maybe that I might even put onto this channels. I'm not too sure. I don't know how it works, but
Raven,
go ahead, brother.
is it possible for you and Sister Kushti, because I know you're both in the VC, that perhaps if you could both train the teenagers who you're going to take to Speaker's Corner, for example, who you want to help out, to understand the elements of Stoicism, and understand how to deflect negative energies away while still keeping an equilibrium, by able to, you know, promote what needs to be for our people, you know, because you do need to have that, Brother Raven. If you're going to go to Speaker's Corner, our people are too emotional. The moment you mention Christianity, Islam, or anything to do with, you know, we seem to viv off. So don't you think you should start something like that on the VC to train the youth to be able to be strategic while they're going to these places?
Oh, we've got a new member. Hi, yeah, I agree, brother. That is something for the plans. Welcome. I think it's Sister Fee Holy Trinity. Is that correct?
Yes, Fee Holy Trinity. Good night, everyone.
How long were you there for? Because our screen was turned, so I didn't see new people. Sorry about that.
And that's okay. Only a few minutes.
Okay. Well, let me go back to the actual stream. We've kind of sidetracked for a slight second. But is there anything you want to say as I'm finding the things? Sis?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the young boy. I think his name's Raheem. I think we've gone slightly off topic, but it was him that you were referring to.
Yes, let me find that.
So I just wanted to say, I'm not a parent myself, but a few things that I've seen that have worked when you have children in mainstream schools, particularly, I understand he's autistic as well.
Okay.
And I think the difficulty is there is special educational needs departments in mainstream schools now. And there are people who say it's positive because obviously it allows them to integrate into normal society quicker and things like that. Whereas before they had special schools. So the education and the time given was quite different. So it's what comes before the chicken or the egg, really. What's the best for children? But one thing I wanted to say, to point out, is that the mother, she's fairly young. I think she's about 28. And just to say, not to criticize, but there doesn't seem to be a male presence there. But I think generally, as women, Black women, we need to be more kind of active in the school system.
Yeah.
And I found that particularly works when I'm not just attending parents' evenings and things like that, but also volunteering to go, with activities and things like that. So you kind of have to play the game. It's a bit like the workplace. I think what I've noticed is that Black women in particular, although people don't like to admit it, we are quite shy, particularly when it comes to dealing with people outside of the culture, which is understandable. Me, myself, I'm quite laid back as well. And I kind of have to force myself, particularly in certain work environments where there isn't a lot of people that look like you. And it's the same for a school environment. We are quite laid back and shy, also coupled with the element that, a lot of us single parents have to work, tired, can't, don't have the extra time. But I think you have to sort of push yourself that extra mile to sort of go out, try and get involved. And I think the parents who do get involved and who are involved a lot more, I think you'll see that there's a huge difference in how their children are treated. And there's a little bit more of a respect element there as well. And, I don't know if you've seen a picture of her, beautiful lady. She's got her hair covered. I'm not sure if she's from the Islamic faith. But again, because she's attractive, she could also use that to her, potential advantage. But yeah, I just think that, I think as Black women, we just have to go that extra mile to get involved and to make ourselves seen and not be so sort of standoffish. I know it's difficult. I know that a lot of us have to work and single parents, and you're coming home from night work, your eyes are red. Just put a few drops in your eyes, go and get a cold shower, and try and attend an activity. Try and get involved. Try and make your presence known. For the fathers out there, there's a lot of Black fathers saying that they want to be more actively involved. That also includes school, not just taking to football and things like that, but also attending school meetings and things to that effect. And also maybe even volunteering, getting on boards, parent boards and things like that. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. Well, to add to what you're saying, so just so I'll put the picture of the sister. So the sister, I think, I'm not too sure if she really did, and I agree. Getting to know the school and the teachers is definitely very handy and helpful. One thing I do know is they were complaining directly, so she was communicating with the teachers for quite some time about the bullying, but I don't know what much was done. Probably nothing, hence why it got to that kind of climax fever pitch. But no, I do agree.
Yeah, I think that's a difficulty in a school where there's like 30 or more kids to a class, and then you've got a special needs child as well. I mean, the other children themselves are struggling to get attention. So how much attention are they going to, set aside for this person? I mean, I know they do have special education needs departments, and they do take the children aside for independent learning. But still, I just think rather than waiting until there's an issue, you kind of, from the beginning, you kind of have to put yourself out there and make yourself known. And you have to kind of play the game. It's the same thing in the workplace. You say, oh, I don't want to go to this event. I don't want to go to that. No, you don't want to go, but try and make an effort. Try and kind of ingratiate yourself. I've seen that parents that do that seem to get the most response.
That is so scary that you said that, sis, because although I was saying that a bit earlier, but even today is the last day of school for my son, and I went along to the school trip today. So
yeah,
when I was saying what I was saying, it was from experience. Once you make yourself a presence and a known, as you were saying, they really do not want to go there with you. They will not go down that avenue. And it's true. There's in the school that I went to, the dad, he's in an interracial relationship, but they had split up, And he came, you know, the son is with the mum predominant time, but he actually came to the trip. He's not really made an effort, but he's starting to make an effort. So these things are, it's so important. It's important, for this, like looking at the story that we're talking about now, the fact that the poor child had a finger, had to get removed. So just for the basic things of safety, but finding out, you know, who your school, the friends that your child is running around with, because when they're on a school trip, they'll naturally gravitate to who they're going to gravitate to, their friends. Looking at their teachers, seeing how the teachers responds to them, because that's a high intense environment. You've got to move 30 kids around, and right now the pressure's on teachers. You've got to think of the safety, allergies, you know, special needs. You're getting on public transport, so you get to see them in high intense environments and seeing if they're snappy, and how are they allowing certain things. So boys will be boys with other kids, but do they snap on your kid? Or, you know, you get to see little things. You really get to see what kind of teacher is teaching your kid. You get a real chance to get that kind of real life snapshot of what your child experiencing, not the little show and tell, come and see the school for an hour, walk around, and I'll put on my best outfit or my best face for you. So all of that, and if you do come back with a good experience like I did today, you're just on cloud nine, because especially me, I'm assessing everything, you know. And you're right, sis, it's not the most comfortable environment, you know, but again, if there's anything to be uncomfortable for, it should be our children. You know, we're talking about our kids. So you force yourself to be in that element. You know, you listen to the conversations that's being had. You find out who's the PSA and what they're discussing. And, you know, and all of this stuff that's getting introduced with, you know, the sexual education and things like that. You start noticing more and seeing more. So just going to an event has so much different levels. And what it does to the child, I mean,
Sis, I don't know if I think your thing just jumped for a bit. Can you carry on? Say something.
Oh, sorry. Am I
Yeah,
saying?
it's only one word we didn't hear, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, I was just going to end it as the last part is what that does to your child when they see you there. Again, that field of confidence, and you know, it's what I'm saying is there's so much benefits of going if you are in a position to be able to go or do something, like if they're doing something at the end, or they're doing a little bakery or a project or something like that. Really try to just get your foot in an element like that, where you really get to see the function and the institution your child is in, you know, more times than not. So yeah, I definitely do agree. But I do agree that that atmosphere is not a comfortable atmosphere to be in. You understand, as soon as you step in there, you understand all the prejudice that they're probably assuming. You know, it's not, but it's just like life, and it hardens you, it gets you wise, it sharpens your skills to deal with other aspects of the environment that we're living in, and it's a benefit for your child. So I 100% agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree, and it's part of, as Kale would say, a code of conduct. I think that should also be part of the code of conduct. Should be playing them at their own game, and trying to infiltrate in another way. And as you say, it allows you to see a different dynamic, rather than just coming up for formal sort of official things where everyone's just straight laced. Whereas they're more kind of in their arena, and they're more comfortable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think that more women, black parents, should make an effort and push yourself out of your comfort zone. Definitely.
So, to the question of how best to protect black children, Sister Fiholly has come and said, you know, get involved more with the tutors, the teachers, go to see them. There's some of the Empress Christie says, as of recently, she's tried herself, and it seems to be quite a good strategy. So, things out there. The family, we are a 2-hour show, and we've just hit the 2-hour mark. Would everyone like to say their last words?
I'll just say that I probably have just said my last words of what I just said there, but it was a good topic, and it was really great to delve into, different levels of it as well. So, again, another great show. It's a pleasure to be with everyone on the panel as well.
Yeah, Brother Raven. We have to teach the youth to be politically educated from a very young age, and they need to understand stoicism. They need to understand how to deflect negative energy. They need to be able to control their dopamines, which their unsynchronized parents have taught them to idolize non-African people, positive or negatively. That has to be the solution. Politically educated for the youth.
Yeah, sorry, I came in quite late towards the end. I'm going to go back and watch because I only started listening halfway through. But no, thank you. That's all I really had to contribute. I just thought my thoughts on, how you can create a better relationship, particularly if you're going to keep your children within mainstream and not homeschool them or anything like that. Then you have to learn to play the game, unfortunately.
Definitely. I know it was closed down, but there was something I was going to say.
Go ahead.
When Brother Cal said that when you're going into Speaker's Corner, I do kind of agree that it would be good if you could get more people that you might debrief before going in and just give them a little tips, just so there's other examples of what you're saying, So it's just that it's not just yourself as a presence doing it, because if you're talking, you have to speak the knowledge, and if you don't have examples or I think it's a lot of roles in one, especially when they get so animated and passionate and stuff. So but like you said, you're bringing people down, and you're more to and stuff. But I think that whole debriefing, like how you do so well, when you just said, you should expect this, the best way to counteract that is this. Typically it's that, because it's the same thing. You might have said it with a different accent or a different way, but it's always the same thing. So if you just do that debrief, I think that will really help within doing the R corner, because then there's examples of what you're saying when if you look to your left, you look to the person getting emotional, they look to their left, and perhaps this person's acting a bit more stoic and being able to reserve themselves, and what I mean, it's not all of them just shouting at each other while you're trying to relay a message, and then perhaps the other people there would be able to be like, actually, why not let the brother finish? Or maybe, bro, maybe just calm down and talk. There's just more of a presence. The dynamic shifts where it's not so much of emotion. Now there's other energies present in there, because I just think that I think it'll be a new elevation, right, to our corner. I think that's the next step now. So I do think that would be a good look.
I agree, and one thing I was going to say as well was to when I do start corner, having like basic rules and intros and stuff, just to, like what we're trying to achieve and stuff like that. One thing I would say though is Speech is very organic, and one way of getting people down there is by going there rogue. Just start certain debates that people seeing come down, and then once you get like a week or so of that, then you plan. Okay, now that everyone's coming down and everyone is in the mood for the part 3 of this topic or whatever it might be, or continue it. Next week we're going to do it this way, but we're going to be more controlled, blah, blah, blah. So this is one thing we're going to try to do. But
Raven, just want to add something. The non-African people, brother, although what you just said, being rogue, and there's nothing wrong with it. However, all non-African people, brother, they already prepared how to deal with us.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying, is that if we can have some preparation, because they're prepared, brother, rogue or not, they have their political science intact for African people, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's an uphill struggle, but I hear that. And but what we'll be doing is hopefully we'll be reviewing some of this stuff, and then in the reviewing in the show, we'll try to work out how best to approach this scenario for next time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's a value. Because the thing is, and if you've never been Speaker's Corner, I can assure you what you what you least expect will happen tends to happen. And if you've, I don't know if anyone's ever been, and yeah, these expensive microphones that they use, they point at someone and you just hear them. But when you're there, you see everyone who, and then many people shout from the shadows and this kind of stuff. But these are things that we'll work on and to try to make it more presentable for the audience. But,
Is it better, but would it be better to do and because you know, for example, what you've done there with the when you was at Speaker's Corners last week, right? Is it possible for you to bring that under VC or Clubhouse and train our people there, and then instead of it being like, because sometimes, brother, we have to be very stealth when it comes to non-African people. You know what I mean? And that you have to be very
The thing is, a lot of this, to be honest with you, Speaker's Corner is an outreach. Like technically, people know of the stuff I'm doing. I will pull it highly percentage through Speaker's Corner because of the networks that's there already and the Google and the algorithms. And the idea is to connect with those algorithms, then take those people that you connect with, the synchronized ones, and bring them somewhere else. So it is almost like a trailer. But the thing is, you have to have content that people care about. So you have to talk about things that gets the algorithms. But once people come down, you network, you take their number, you put them somewhere else, and then you start doing. And that's a strategy that I've used before. But you've got expect to see Speaker's Corner as a trailer, literally as a trailer. You know, and so we don't really tackle the deep stuff, if we're being honest. We don't know, and you know, and I'm very clear about there's certain things we don't talk about, they discuss whatever. It's more so like, you know, stuff that everyone's talking about that gets a reaction, and maybe ways of how to behave in public, and certain philosophies, and then you know, but then some people come and start talking about the sun, moon, and stars and this kind of stuff. So it's like, you know, it's what it is. So, but yeah, but we'll try to get more discipline, and we'll try to form something that works in Black people's best interest. That's what we're going to try to do. It's a learning process, isn't it? All right. So that's 11 o'clock now, I believe. It's 4 minutes past. So family, thank you for coming. Thank you for Brother Cal, Sister Fee, and obviously Empress Christy. Till next time, Black Bearman. Oh yeah, end the show. Here we